Well, it's time almost to go. We have 14 minutes, and we still have one more church to do. So here we are. We've gotten to Philadelphia. And I'm going to cover this rapidly. I hope that you have a good time reading it. But this is the real deal church. This is the only one Jesus does not criticize, does not say anything that they're doing wrong. In fact, if you want to know what a normal Christian that's the real deal looks like, it's this church, okay? So let's read it. Here we go. Some of you are going to have trouble standing up, but let's all stand, especially wake up those people around you that don't know what we're doing and tell them we're standing. And I'm going to start in verse 7, and we're going to read through verse 13. And we're going to read what it means, what does the ideal Christian, the perfect, real deal Christian look like? And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things says he who is holy, he who is true, he who has the key, and he who opens, and no one shuts, and shuts, and no one opens. I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door. No one can shut it. You have a little strength. You have kept my word and have not denied my name. Indeed, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. Indeed, I will make them come and worship before your feet and to know that I have loved you because you have kept my command to persevere. I will keep you from the hour of trial which shall come upon the whole world, to test those who dwell on earth. Behold, I am coming quickly. Hold fast to what you have, that no one may take your crown. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he will go out no more. I will write on him the name of my God, the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven from God. And I will write on him my new name. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. You may be seated. Thank you for being Philadelphians in our little reenactment. Now let's look at what Philadelphians really look like and see how you're doing at that, okay? Look what he says. Remember, every letter has the same structure. I've told you this over and over again. Jesus picks a series of titles or descriptors of himself and shares with the church that totally fit with what kind of things have gone on, like in Sardis with the not watching the wall. But with this church, Jesus picks an interesting group of things. Look what he says. To the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things says he who is holy, he who is true. Now this third one, he who has the key of David, that's about the most obscure thing in Revelation. What is that? What's the key of David? Isaiah 22:22 tells us. It's very interesting. The key of David was what the steward to the king had. When the kings of Israel were sitting on the throne, they had a person that was kind of like their assistant. And if you wanted to have an appointment with the king, if you wanted the king to sign something, if you wanted to hear your case, you went to the person that was their steward that watched over them. And that person you'll see in Isaiah is called the one who has the key of David. And they could take you before the king and get his attention. And then look what happens when you get the king's attention. He who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one opens. Now let's go through that. This is what I call it. The 4 keys to spiritual health in a hostile world. That's what the Philadelphians teach us. Their life was anchored to Christ. Here are the 4 keys. He who is holy, understanding that. He who is true, number 2, understanding that. He who has the access to God, the key of David, that's number 3. He who opens a door of ministry and no one can shut it, and shuts the door and no one can open it. I know your works, Jesus said to this church. I have set before you an open door and no one can shut it. Let's go through them one at a time. Jesus is holy. You know what that means? Jesus wants us to be holy. Do you know what that means about the Philadelphians? They were holy. What does holy mean? My first introduction to holiness came when my mother baked a cake, and I was a little 3-year-old, and she put it on the counter. She loved to bake cakes and stack the layers and frost it. And she put it on the counter, and then she pushed it away from the edge, and she looked at me and said, Johnny, That is for your dad. It's his birthday cake. Don't touch it. Did you hear me? Don't touch it. Because I just wanted to get some frosting. Do you know what holiness is? Set apart for something, a specific use. It's to be set apart. God wants us to be set apart from sin. We study the Bible, we find out what God hates, what he doesn't like, what he doesn't want, and we say, I don't want what you don't want, and I'm going to be holy. Holiness does not mean that you have this dour look on your face, and you look frumpy. No, it's not. The Puritan idea that you're, kind of rigid is not holiness. Holiness is set apart. It's kind of like sanctification, being useful to God. That would be useful unless it was set apart from other things. So this is the only attribute of God that's given the ultimate emphasis. Do you remember in Isaiah 6, holy, holy, holy? And here's what Peter said. God who called you is holy, so you also be holy in your conduct. Because it is written, be holy, for I am holy. So number one, Jesus says, I'm holy. I want holiness. They were doing that. It doesn't mean they were perfect. What it meant was that anything they knew that they did that displeased God, they said, I'm sorry. I didn't want to do that. I'm sorry I did that. I even probably wanted to do it a little bit, but I'm even sorry that I wanted a little bit, and I want to be useful to you. I hate sin. I depart from sin. Okay, number two. Jesus is true. Jesus wants truthfulness. Jesus speaks truth, but not like scribes. In today's world, there's always someone higher up the food chain. If you don't like them in the aisle, you go to the service desk, and if you don't like them, you go to the manager. That's not like, and then if not, you post on Twitter, or X, and you complain. That's not how it is with Jesus. He's the final word. He speaks truth. You don't get to negotiate. If you want to hear absolute life-changing truth, God has it. You know what it says in Psalm 19? The law of the Lord is perfect, transforming the soul. The law of the Lord is clean, pure, making wise the simple, enlightening the eyes. Psalm 19 says that God's truth is transformational. In fact, when Bonnie and I speak at these medical missionary conferences, you all have to wear at the conference a tag of what you are medically. Do you know what they call us? We're standing with anesthesiologists and obstetricians and neurosurgeons and everything. You know what our tag says? Bonnie's tag and my tag says spiritual mental health care provider. Wow. Did you know that's what all of you are supposed to be? Spiritual mental health care providers. You know what that means? You know the truth. Jesus speaks the truth. And look what happens. John 8, Jesus said to those Jews who believed in him, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you'll know the truth, and the truth will make you free. You want to be free from your fear, free from your anxiety, free from the constant emptiness of unsatisfied whatever? The truth of God sets us free. Number three, third truth that the Philadelphians built their lives on, Jesus holds the key. Only Jesus can open God's wealth, God's presence, and God's power. That's the three things Isaiah 22 says, that Shebna the scribe had the access to the king in the context of Isaiah. He could open the king's presence, wealth, and power to people who wanted the king. And you know what Jesus said? That's to an earthly, temporary king. I open the wealth, presence, and power of the infinite God to you. Here's what John 14:21 says. He who has my commands and keeps them, he it is who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father. I will love him and manifest myself to him. Then Jesus opens, and no one can shut the doors of ministry. Jesus designed each of us to do something no one else can do. I love David's epitaph. God wrote it. For David, after he served the purpose of God in his own generation, fell asleep. There's nothing greater than serving God's purpose.